Hello, my fellow chatterers and book lovers, and anyone else who has popped in because you are curious about what on earth is going on, or you have just got a bit lost. Welcome, everyone. I'm Chatty, and this is my channel, Chatty the Mad Chatter, and I am going to be chatting away madly about my series. And oh my goodness, has this video taken a massive amount of time to set up? It has, is the answer to that question. I feel quite out of breath from gathering, can't see them, they're off camera, piles of books. I've been doing maths. I've been writing notes. There's a lot going on. So we're just going to crack on with it. I feel it's going to be a long one. So if you fancy sticking around, make sure you've got a chore to do alongside. Maybe you're doing exercise. I've heard people like to do that to my videos, which I think is brilliant. Or have a brew and just get nice and cozy. So on my channel, if you are new here, thanks for popping in. Hopefully you will stick around. If not, there are plenty of other booktubers out there that might be more your fit. I do not edit my long videos. We just keep going. I can pause, but that is the amount of editing that I manage. So cheers, everyone. Here is to the chaos. Clink, 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 clink. So I'm going to be there was dust in that cup. This is the second time I've done that. Marvellous. Okay, tea. And we're good to go. Right. I'm going to be talking through what I have been reading over the last few months since I did an update on my series. So last year I did 2 because I didn't manage to do it. This year I'm going to be back on doing it termly. So I'm going to be reviewing my series every 4 months. I have now created a new system to give myself points so I can kind of have a clearer idea of how well I'm doing, because sometimes like I might finish a series but it's a duology, or I'm still slogging along with, you know, a really long book series and I've got nothing to show for it. So to try and even the field a little bit more, I've come up with a numerical system to give myself points, and I'll be comparing kind of an overall total, how I'm doing termly, yada 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 yada. So it is the first video for 2024 talking about series. So I will be going through what I'm currently reading. So I have a big stack of books showing my current reads. I have a big stack of books showing ones I'm up to date in and I'm waiting for the next book. And I'll be talking about this term, which ones I've started, progressed with, finished, I'm up to date with, and any DNFs. So I'm going to show you what it looked like at the end of my last video, where I was in terms of my current reads and in terms of my up-to-date reads. This is not the best background. It is my floor in front of bookshelves, so it's a little bit hard to see. But here is my stack of books that I'm currently working on as of halfway through November 2023, which was when I did my last video. So we have got, on the left, we have got Oathbringer III in the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. It's a reread, but I want to reread it and then read the 4th book, Rhythm of War, for the first time. I have Maya Angelou's autobiography. I have read the first 2 books. I need the 3rd book. But I'm using the second, Gather Together in My Name, as a placeholder because I don't have the 3rd one yet. I have J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, which is the final book in that trilogy. I am kind of waiting on an audio book, so me getting around to getting a free audio subscription, but I want the Andy Serkis audio to listen to, so I'm kind of waiting for that one. We have the 2nd book in Ken Follett's The Knightsbridge. I think it's called The Knightsbridge. It was a quartet, but there's now a 5th book out, World Without End, although they are more companion novels, so I may end up not reading the 5th book. I don't know, depending how I feel about them all. I then have The Hunger of the Gods, which is the 2nd book in the Bloodsworn saga by John Gwynne. I have a middle grade now, Danger at Dead Man's Pass. I don't have that book, so it's a placeholder. I'm borrowing those from the library. And that is the 4th book in the Adventures on Train series, which is one I need to read next. And there are 6 books out currently by Sam Sedgman and M.G. Leonard. I then have Becky Chambers' Wayfarer series. The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet is the one that I have read. I need to get hold of the 2nd one, and there are 4 books in that series. I have read The Conductors by Nicole Glover in the Magic and Murder series. I have just got my hands on the second one, which is The Undertakers, that I need to read. I have The Haunting of Evelyn Jones by Phil Hicks, another middle grade, and this one is the first in 3 books, and I need to get hold of the next ones. I have A Conjuring of Light by V.E. Schwab, and that is the 3rd book in the Shades of Magic, and when I finish that, that will be the final one because I am not going to be continuing. I have A Court of War and Ruin is the next book I need to read in the Sarah J. Maas Akatar series. I have Secrets of the Stars by Maria Kuznia, which is the 2nd book in that duology, The Ship of Shadows, that I need to read. I have The Library of the Dead, the 1st book in the Edinburgh Night series by T.L. Huchu. I need to earn the next book in that series. I've got The Concrete Roads, which is the next one to read in Angie Thomas's duology, and this is the prequel to the Hate You Give. I have Thunderhead, the 2nd book in the Arc of a Scythe series by Neil Shusterman that I need to read. I've got City of Nightmares by Rebecca Schaffer, and I need to read the next book, which is A Cage of Dreams, that I currently don't have. From the library, I have got out He Who Drowned the World, which is the final book in the duology, the Radiant Emperor duology by Shelley Parker Chan. I have Only a Monster by Vanessa Len, and I need to read the next book, something about a hero. Can't remember what it is, but it's the monster series. I have Foxglove by Adeline Grace, which is the 2nd book in the Belladonna series. And finally, I have Storm of Sisters, which is a middle grade by Michelle Harrison, and that is the 4th and final book in the Pinch of Magic series, or also known as the Widdershin Sisters series. So that is 20 books that I currently have on the go. And I am now going to let you know what series I am, as of the end of November, up to date with. Then I'll go through what it looks like this term and then how it stands at the end of that term. And then finally, I am going to share with you the winning books that you voted for of the next 3 series I should start, which I'm very excited to talk about. I have 11 books in my up-to-date series. So let's start at the bottom. We have Amari and the Great Game by B.B. Alston, the 2nd book in the Magical Bureau for Investigations series. I have Hollypocks, the 3rd book in the Nevermore series, The Hunt for Morgan Crow by Jessica Townsend. I have Spice Road by Maya Ibrahim, which is the 1st book in... I can't remember the name of the series, but the 2nd book is going to be due out soon, which is fantastic. Oh, I didn't speak about the other ones. I'll speak about those at the end. Iron Widow by Ziran J. Zhao. That is the 1st book. I have the 2nd book in Her Majesty's Royal Coven, which is A Shadow Cabinet by Juno Dawson. Zachary Ying and the Dragon Emperor, also by Ziran J. Zhao. The Lizzie and Bell Mysteries, Portraits and Poisons, that's the 2nd book by J.T. Williams. Onyeka and the Rise of the Rebels by Tolu Okoguru, again the 2nd book. I have a brown envelope here because I was reading a book series and this book has been redacted because of the St. Martin's Press boycott. However, I am counting it for points. I'm just not talking about what it is. I have Tracy Deon's The Legend-Born Cycle Bloodmarked, which is the 2nd book in that one. And I have Sing Me to Sleep by Gabby Burton, which is the 1st book in that series. So some of these books, since the end of November, I am now no longer up to date with because they have had other books come out. So let me just sort that out. So it now looks like this. And Onyeka and the Rise of the Rebels is going to move over to the currently reading pile because the 3rd book is now out. And the brown envelope is also moving over there as well. So I'm first going to talk about books I am now up to date with. So I am now up to date with Adeline Grace's Belladonna series. I think it's going to be a trilogy. We are waiting for Scott. I want to say Widdershin, and I know it's not Widdershin. Hold on, it's going to come to me. Wisteria. So I knew it began with a W. So Wisteria is due to come out at the end of August, which is very exciting, and I will be picking it up as soon as that happens. Although I am getting the Fairy Loot editions because I just think they're so beautiful. I love the kind of the darker and the purple colours that kind of come through in this one, and these edges are gorgeous. I have so much fun with this series. I'm not typically a fantasy romance reader, but I just love the chemistry between our protagonist and the love interest in here. Not giving away spoilers just in case you haven't read Belladonna and are planning to. And just the humour and the banter and that sort of society comedy of manners. Like, I love comedy of manners. So like society is sort of doing this and other things are happening that kind of it just the humor is there because unexpected things are happening. There's ghosts, there's death, there's a lot of witticism, a lot of banter. The chemistry absolutely works for me. It is so good for me. I'm reading this going, I'm just absolutely rooting for the characters in this one, and I just had an amazing time reading this book, so I'm very excited to be up to date. I don't know if I'm going to reread the first two when I get to the third one, but I did read Belladonna again before reading Foxglove and had an amazing time. And I read it with the wonderful Vadania from Vadania Silver Scribe and Chloe from Phantom of the Pages, and we all thoroughly love this series. I'm next up to date. Very different type of book, but I love it just as much, and that is the Blood Swan Saga by John Gwynne. This is The Hunger of the Gods, which is the second book. So I am now up to date with The Hunger of Gods. It took me a long time, but when it came together with when I wanted to read it, it did not take me long to get the first few chapters to kind of just get back into that world and the characters' names, and thank goodness Gwynne provides a character list. All fantasy books need to do this. We need character lists with epic fantasy, absolutely. Character lists, please, and just little things to just jot our memory and go, oh yes, that's that guy. Thank you so much. That would be really helpful. And this is just such an amazing ride. I love the characters more. I love seeing their growth. I love seeing the world expansion. There's so much at stake. There's more going on, and I had just the best time reading this. And it is, I'm not going to wait as long as I did picking up Hunger of the Gods for picking up the next book when it comes out. I don't know if this is going to be a trilogy or a quartet, and I know that John Gwynne was dealing with a lot of personal things, so like whenever the next book comes out, I'm very happy to read it. And I still have other Gwynne books to get to. In the meantime, I've got the second era, if you will, of The Faithful and the Fallen World that I have not yet read, so I have enough to keep me going. But yes, absolutely very happy to be up to date with Blood Swan Saga and cannot wait to continue reading this one. Other books I am up to date with are ones that I then started, so I'm going to keep those in starting in the starting section. So let's talk about books that I finished, and I just realised I'd like to get all of the series out, so let me go and grab those. So in the wonderful wintry month of December, I read A Storm of Sisters by Michelle Harrion, which is the final book, meaning I have now finished the Pinch of Magic series, which is Pinch of Magic, which is the first book, Sprinkle of Sourcery, the second book, A Tangle of Spells, the third book, and Storm of Sisters, the fourth book. And this series is beautiful. It's exactly what I love in middle grade. It's got such heart. We have got this trio of sisters, all different characters, and I love how all the adventures are sister adventures. So they all include all three of the sisters. Sometimes a few other family members kind of slot in, or they get like new friends that kind of join in with them. But ultimately, it is focused on their relationship and how they manage to deal. I'm not sure what I'm doing with these books. Let me work out how I'm going to hold them. What I love about this series is that there is always like a local legend that the sisters hear about and discover, and there's always some kind of like mystery to unravel surrounding this local legend. and it becomes apparent that it's not just a legend, there is truth to it and there is a reality to it. So it's more of like a magical history that is going on. So I absolutely love how all of that plays out. Pinch of Magic has to be my favourite one, just because the way the story worked and the way it was told was just something you couldn't recreate with any of the other ones. Because of the stakes in this one and because of how it played out. And it was our first introduction to this idea of like playing with the legends and our first introduction to these characters. I wasn't expecting any of the other books to hit the highs that this one did, but I absolutely wanted to hang out with them more and continue to have an amazing time. A sprinkle of Sourcery, I think, is my third favourite. I really enjoyed the sea atmosphere and setting. I loved that we had more of like a piratey feel to it. I really enjoyed all of that aspect. I know it can't reach the heights of A Pinch of Magic, and my second one I just really enjoyed because there just seemed to be much more of a sister kind of connection going on with that one. But I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed more of the magic. I loved the legend. I loved how they kind of helped other characters along the way, and how we got to kind of see more of them having met them up in A Pinch of Magic. My second favourite was A Tangle of Spells. This has got much more of kind of like a sort of witchy feeling to it, and there is like you really feel the bond between the sisters in this one, and kind of how they all play to their strengths in this, and just their love for each other really comes through. And you also, I think, you know, Granny's great in this one as well, and I just thoroughly enjoyed how this one played out, and the more you kind of discovered all about it, it was just, I really enjoyed how it all kind of came together. Storm of Sisters was my fourth favourite, but it is still a fantastic story. I enjoyed so much of the time with it. It's a wintry one, so there was lots of all those, again, atmospherical feelings and descriptions of food. And it was a really fun story. It just didn't quite have the sisters fighting for each other as much as it had in some of the other ones, but I still had a brilliant time reading it. So it was an amazing series. I was so anticipating reading this, and yeah, I had a brilliant time getting through all of these books, and I do absolutely love them and can't wait to share them with my children and reread them again as comfort reads at some point. The other series I finished off is the Hate You Give duology. So we have the Hate You Give, and our protagonist in this is Star, and in Concrete Rose we hear from her father Maverick, and it's his story of kind of his youth growing up and important life decisions that he kind of had in this one. So this is a contemporary YA duology, and I had a great time with it. I can't say if I liked one more than the other. They were very different, because you were exploring completely different characters and completely different challenges. But what Angie Thomas is so good at doing is like just really pulling these characters to life, really making you aware of their difficulties, different perspectives, and just this like community that kind of comes together. And it, yeah, I just really enjoyed these and always want to read more from Angie Thomas. So that was 2 series finished. So now I'm going to talk to you about all the books that I've started. Now, for some reason, I thought Beartown in my head. I thought, I'm going to enjoy this, but I don't think I'm going to feel the need to continue reading. I was so wrong. I loved Beartown. This is by Fredrik Backman. It is a contemporary story set in Sweden, featuring on this small town where its kind of biggest asset is its local hockey team. There is an incident that happens, and the town is very divided on how they feel about this. You really get to know what it's like to be living in this small town community, how much is riding on this hockey team, how much these decisions kind of basically affect their livelihood, and who you kind of root for and who you change opinions on. It's very powerful. It's, I think, a really important book. and just the characters, I just took quite a lot of them to my heart, and I really need to follow their journey because there's more stuff going down, and I can't wait to read Me Against You, which I now have in my possession. I'm borrowing it from my friend Dave, who has lent it to me. So very excited to continue with this series now that I've started it. I then have a series I started, and I do not have the book with me because I gave it back to the library. So this is a placeholder for A Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. It is the novella series in Monk and Robot about a tea monk called Dex and a robot called Moscap. And it's this sci-fi years into the future where we used robots for a lot of things, and then they gained sentience and they decided they didn't want to work for us anymore, and the humans let them go and go off into the wilderness. So that's kind of at the beginning of the story, where you have humans very separate from robots, doing their own thing, and it's very much kind of one of those, like, thinking about what you want to do in life, and your not so much purpose, but more like your well-being and how you feel. So I really enjoyed this book. I absolutely want to own my own copies at some point, but at the moment I don't. And I did then go on to read the next book as well. In February, I started with a group read, and we read The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah. This is the first book in the Sandsea trilogy, and I loved this book. I really loved this book. I thought it was brilliant. I loved the characters, I loved the arc, I loved the magic, I loved the plot. It took us on a journey. It had lots of kind of like inspirations from 1001 Nights, and I loved how all of that came together. I have got so many questions about what's happening next. I really want the Ashfire King. I can't wait to continue this series, but it's not out yet. I thought it was going to be out this year, but I think it's next year we're going to be getting the Ashfire King, so I'll have to be patient and wait. But this was brilliant. I am really enjoying the desert fantasy that I'm reading. I'm loving. So desert fantasy is definitely working for me at the moment. Yeah, so that was this one. Brilliant book. What have I got here? Oh yes. So I also started, so the next two I'm not as excited about, but I have decided to continue them. So I have this is a placeholder for The Swifts, which I borrowed from the library. This is a middle grade mystery by Beth Lincoln. I really loved her writing style. I liked the zaniness. I liked her ideas. Didn't gel with her protagonist, but I like the side characters. So I'm kind of keen enough, like, I really enjoyed her writing and some of her ideas, so I'm keen enough to like keep going and pick up The Swift 2 at some point, and then I'll see how I kind of feel from that one. I'm hoping the plot will be tighter, and I shall find out. So at the moment, yes, I am going to continue with The Swifts. And the final book that I started within this term was Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger. And I buddy read this one with Tallia. Oh, I buddy read The Swifts as well with Tallia, Vadania and Kelli. I will link all of their channels in the description box. And I think I was the one that probably enjoyed that book the most. Like, none of us gelled with the protagonist at all. But I really love the zaniness of it. I love the ideas. I love the kind of how she used language. Enough that I do want to carry on reading, but I don't think anyone else is continuing with that series. However, I buddy read Keeper of the Lost Cities with Tallia from Bandana Book Mum, and she got on with this a lot better than I did. There were certain things that we both could do without, like the verging on teenage romance bits that I just don't need in my middle grade. And we both, you know, are not impressed by the adults of this book. But I think Tallia really enjoyed kind of the fun and lightheartedness of it all, whereas I just struggled a lot with the writing and presentation and found lots of things really annoying. But I am intrigued enough by the character of Sophie and her past to want to know what happens next. So at the moment I'm going to continue on with the series, but we'll see how I feel after Exile. But I do hope to buddy read that again with Tallia, and I will decide if if I feel it's improved enough for me to continue, or if I decide I feel I need to part ways with Keeper. But at the moment, I'm intrigued and want to keep going. So that is 5 series started. And then I have made a progression with 1 series, which I am delighted about. And basically reading this book has just made me feel so happy with my series progress that I think I don't need to worry about anything else. I'm just delighted that I read this book. And that is Thunderhead, the second book in the Arc of a Scythe by Neil Shusterman. Because I read Scythe in, I think it was either March or April 2021 that I read it. Yeah, because I don't think I did a wrap up of Scythe. I think that was when I was just starting to follow Booktube but not do Booktube. And I really enjoyed Scythe. I thought it was brilliant. It was a really fascinating dystopia. Thunderhead, I really loved. I really enjoyed, like, we got more into the world. We had more politicking going on. We were following the same characters again. For some reason, I thought we weren't. For some reason, I thought Thunderhead was the same world, but we looked at new characters and we heard about the old characters and then all of them joined together in the Toll. For some reason, I thought that was the case. It's not. We still continue with the characters that we met in Scythe and continue their story, but we are introduced to new characters as well in Thunderhead. And the world has just expanded a bit more again, and you find out about more different types of people kind of around. So you hear about sort of more of the kind of rebellious, they're rebels without a cause, really. But you hear about kind of them and how the Thunderhead accommodates them. You hear from the Thunderhead. We get bits from the Thunderhead and what the voice of the Thunderhead so much more. And I love it. I really love a sentient AI. I find them highly enjoyable. And I just love the Thunderhead's thoughts on things and the process. And it's definitely one of those sort of speculative fiction about the future kind of situations. And I just find it so fascinating. And this kind of like that examination of managing social things. It's brilliant. There's a lot of stakes in here. There's a lot of stakes, and I think that's one of the things that kept me gripped. Like, I enjoyed the characters, and I think if I'd read Scythe and then this one, I would have been more connected to them. But I'd lost sight of them a little bit from that one. But there's nothing. I enjoy the characters. I'm just not like, you know, ride or die for them. But in this, I just love the exploration that goes on, and I love the plot. And I am invested in what's happening. I know exactly who I'm rooting for and who I'm not rooting for, and there's a lot going on. And I think it's very important to read the Toll quite soon after Thunderhead, and that's what I'm going to say. So there we go. That is kind of like what I have been progressing with. So I'm going to have a glug of tea. I'm going to add them to my piles. And then I'm going to talk to you about what that brings me to. And I'm going to talk about new things that I'm going to be reading. So I'm going to be revealing the books that you voted for. But I might have a little bit of a tidy up of my piles first. I will see. I'll talk you through the process anyway. No, that is incorrect. I forgot to talk about the second book that I am up to date with, which is A Prayer for the Crown Shy. I don't have it. This is a placeholder. This is the second book in the Monk and Robot series by Becky Chambers. And so I am now up to date in the Monk and Robot series. It followed on exactly where we left off. And it was, again, just utterly delightful. Again, a sentient AI. I love it. It's just very cozy. It's focusing on well-being. It's focusing on just how different ways of thinking and kind of almost like two different cultures are kind of learning about each other. And it's just, I just love it. I just love it. And I want tea monks. I would love tea monks. That should definitely be a thing. These little carts that come and just make you a cup of tea, and you can just go and have a tea and just sit down and talk to someone. It's kind of like a slightly less unsavory version of the drunks at a bar telling everyone their problems. That it's slightly more civilized, I suppose, than that situation. But it's just such a cozy thing. But I don't know if it is a duology or if it's just there's going to be more. It's very unclear at the moment on that. So at the moment it's in an up-to-date. Okay, so up-to-date series. I can now add Foxglove, Hunger of the Gods, the Monk and Robot series, and the Stardust Thief. So that brings us to 13, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, 13 in my currently in my up-to-date. So I don't think there's going to be too many changes soon. I already spoke that Stardust Thief is the second book's not coming out till next year. I've no idea when the next Monk and Robot book is going to be coming out. Hunger of the Gods, no idea, possibly next year, I don't know. Foxglove is coming out this year. Wisteria is coming out this year at some point. Sing Me to Sleep, we're going to be getting the second book, Drown Me with Dreams, out sometime in the summer. Bloodmarked, I'm not sure when the next one for that one. There's been no news. Same with Lizzie and Belle, I've no idea about that one. Zachary Ying, no idea about the next book in that one. The Shadow Cabinet. So this will also be at some point disappearing from this pile, not for the third book, but for the prequel, Queen Bee, which I am very excited about because I just love the concept. And in Juno Dawson's hands, I think it's going to be completely hilarious, which is what I want from this series. And I think that is due in July. Iron Widow, so upsetting. Zero and J's Hour is all ready to go on Heavenly Tyrant, and for some reason the publishing company are digging their heels and dragging it out a lot. I would like Heavenly Tyrant, please. Can we have that being sorted out and released? That would be really nice. Thanks very much. Spice Road, I've totally forgotten that. I'm blanking on the name, but I do believe the next book is due out. I'm not sure when, but I think the next book is due out this year. Hollowpox, sadly, again, it's been pushed back to 2025. It was supposed to come out again this autumn and hasn't. I really hope everything's okay. I love this series, but I just hope that the author's doing all right. And Amari and the Great Grain, we will be getting the final book, which is both delightful and also upsetting because I was hoping for like a good 5 or 7 books in this series, but B.B. Alston, tell the story you want to tell, and I will be very happy to see how it all wraps up. And that is coming out again at the end of August, so we'll be getting my hands on that for sure, and I cannot wait to be finishing off that series. I think I'm going to leave everything where it is for now, but there are possibilities that I may take a few things out. The Monk and Robot series, I haven't heard any further about whether or not there's going to be more. So at the moment, it's a duology. It works very well like that. I don't know if Becky Chambers is just leaving it open-ended in case she has more ideas and may well like let herself go and play in that world again if she wants to, but has no current plans at the moment. That's how I'm kind of feeling of it rather than there being more books planned. So unless I hear within the next kind of few months, I might just take that one out as finished. But I will pick up other books that come out. Bloodmarked, I'm leaving in for now. I sadly loved Legendborn, but just did not get on with Bloodmarked at all. No, I think I do definitely want to carry on reading it. I think I'll see. How it goes, and I might just kind of read a few chapters and see if I get into it, and then maybe DNF if it's still not working for me. Lizzie and Belle, no news. I really hope that there are more books in this series. It's beautiful as a duology, but I want more, please. And Zachary Ying, there definitely does seem to be more books planned, but as Zero and J Zhao is sort of struggling to get Heavily Tyrant out there, I don't know when we will expect the next books. Everything else is going to stay in for now. So yeah, might remove Monk and Robot, and may remove Bloodmarked, seeing how I feel about it. If a couple of years go by, I might just say that maybe I don't need to carry on reading that series. Okay, so here we are with our current reads. The conductors I can now swap for the undertakers because I've now earned this book. Onyeka, I still need to earn the next one, but I do have the World Book Day book, which is book 2.5. So I will read this one and then I will read the third book. So that is Onyeka and the Secret Superhero. And now I need to add the Swifts and Keeper to the pile, as well as the Toll. That was Thunderhead. As well as the Toll. And As Against You, which is the second book in the Beartown trilogy by Frederick Backman. So there we go. We have got 21 books that I'm currently reading. And last year it was 20. So at the start of this video, I'd got 20 series on the go, and I've now got 21. So it's gone up, not down. So that's a shame. I did really want it to go down, but hey ho. And my up-to-date series has gone up. I'm not too fussed either way whether that one goes up or down. It is mainly the current series that I kind of want to go down a little bit more, because then I feel more able to start new books, but I can't wait any longer. So I'm just going to be starting some new series. So let me tell you what they are. So it was very clear from the comments on my video. If you have not seen my video, I will link it here, where I asked the booktube community to chat with me and tell me which series they would like me to read next. So I gave them a choice of 3 duologies, and the one that won is the Celestial. I think it's a Celestial duology. It doesn't say anywhere. I'm going to say Celestial duology, but it's The Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Sue Lynn Tan, and the book cover is just so beautiful. I really hope that the duology lives up to the cover. So I have both this and the second book, so I'm very keen to read it. So this is a duology that I will be starting. We then had a sort of a trilogy that was sort of more medium-sized, and there were a few like different options. Well, there were 3, same as the other one, but it was less clear-cut. There were lots of people saying yay for various different ones, so I ended up doing a poll, and on the poll it was very clear that the winner from that one was the Founders trilogy, with the first book being Foundryside by Robert Jackson Bennett. So I do own all 3 of them. One I need to earn, but I have the first and second out already. So I am very much looking forward to starting this. I've heard amazing things about it, amazing things about the magic system. So can't wait to dive in and get reading with this one. And finally, I did my larger series, or sort of bigger trilogies. Again, 3 options, and the one that won for this one, again, it was close sort of in the comments, but when I did a poll up, this one got the most votes, and that is City of Brass. So that is the Daevabad trilogy by S.A. Chakraborty that I am finally getting round to reading. It has been on my list to read for such a long time. I hear so many people loving this and just having a brilliant time with it. I think, just from what I hear, I think that I'm going to enjoy the first book, but I think I'm really going to fall in love with it in the second and third, from what I understand about it. But I'm really looking forward to reading it and hearing all the hype and just enjoying it. So there we go. I have got 3 new books to add to my series, because these will be being read. So I think I'm just going to add them straight on there now, which brings my series that I'm currently reading up to 24. And the book pile is so high you can just about see it in the shot there. Wah! Okay, until I do that, and then just cause chaos with the camera. Okay, so those were the series that I will be starting and finishing this year. So the idea is that all of these series are finished. They are not going to be going in the up-to-date pile. They are already complete, and I intend to finish them before the year end. It's April. It's doable. We'll see if it actually happens. Binners, you know, there, 3 series out of 24 that I have on the go. So the final thing that I'm going to do, oh, actually, I'm going to talk through the series first, and then I'm going to do my points. So this isn't going to be for everyone, but if you are a little bit stats geeky and just want some points to see how I am with it all, then this is for you, but it's mainly for me. But yeah, I'm just going to kind of review some of these books. So Keeper of the Lost Cities and the Swifts, I've already spoken about. I'm going to read the second book, see how I get on with them, and we'll see. If I find myself just not reaching for them and not vibing, I might just let them go. Undertakers, so excited for this one. Absolutely will be reading. Haunting of Evelyn Jones, loved this. I don't own the others at the moment, so it kind of depends on when I pick those up, because I want to own them, but I'm not going to be rushing out and buying books at the moment, so that's possible. Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, I own this one, but my library does have all the other ones, so I can easily get hold of them when I'm ready to start this one, and I definitely do. I'm really excited about this one. I definitely do want to be continuing with it, but I think it's one of those ones where I'm going to want to be reading it kind of one a month, because I'll just be enjoying the vibe. I know the characters aren't necessarily ones you then follow, it's just the world, but I think I want to clear off some other ones and then kind of be picking this one up again. Danger at Dead Man's Pass, The Adventures on Trains placeholder. Again, it's a library book. I don't feel that I'm necessarily going to be reaching for it at the moment. You never know, I might suddenly hit a mystery kick and need them. But at the moment, I'm not reaching for them, so I think I'm just going to pop that one to one side. But I do want to finish them because I do enjoy them. But that's going to be on the back burner for a little bit. There's going to be a time and a place for this one. There will be a time and a place for the end. I did have it the right way up. I'm just turning the book round. World Without End. It's chunky, so I think that's one of the reasons why I'm not naturally like gravitating towards it, because there's so many books I want to read. But I definitely will be continuing with this one. Lord of the Rings, again, I definitely want to finish out this trilogy. It's a reread for me, and it is just because I want to have the Andy Serkis audio. That's all. I just want to be enjoying that because I loved the Andy Serkis audio with the other two, and then at some point I'll be reading them physically again. Maya Angelou, I do need to pick up. I do want to own the rest of her autobiographical series because I think it's phenomenal. So I definitely want to be getting the next book in this series and then continuing with it. But it's when I do that. So I don't know when that is. This is the year for this one. This is the one that I am hoping to be getting done. And that's Oathbringer. That is this biggest book ever that I have. Oathbringer by Brandon Sanderson. I'm ready. I'm ready to get back on the Stormlight hype train. I'm ready to be embracing it, to be diving in this world, to be excited about all the different tiny bits and pieces in it. I'm just finding that place where I can just pop everything down and just focus on this because it's going to take a while. But I'm ready, and then I'm going to have that momentum to keep going on with finally getting to Rhythm of War. It's going to happen. You already know I'm very excited for all 3 of these books that I've spoken about. And also As Against You and The Toll, already spoken about the excitement for those. Onyeka, I'm going to be reading this really soon because it's just so tiny, and I need to earn the 3rd one, so it just kind of depends on when I earn that one. Only a Monster, I think Never a Hero is the name of the next one. I do want to finish it, but it's a I don't need to own it. It's a library book that I'm going to get from there. I can get it from the library. But I think at the moment I'm reading so much kind of YA fantasy through the Fairy Loot boxes with Vadania and Chloe. I'm not necessarily reaching, because otherwise then it's like YA fantasy overload. So I'm not sort of reaching for it at the moment. And I think the biggest drive for this one is the use of time travel, and I'm just intrigued by that kind of world and that magic. I'm not necessarily too fussed by the characters in this. So I think if I don't feel myself reaching for it by the end of the year, I might just say goodbye to this series, and just, should I happen to come across it, great. Should I not, I might not be searching for it, because I'm starting to get bored of just having it on this list. Redacted, but continuing. He Who Drowned the World. As I have currently got this book out of the library, I think it's quite clear that I am going to be finishing this one pretty soon. City of Nightmares. Again, I need to get hold of the second book. I did really enjoy this one, so enough that I want to own the second book and read it that way. I found it really unique in this world and the way it worked, and there's a lot of things that I'm looking forward to exploring. Library of the Dead. I really enjoyed this one. I have got the second one, but I need to earn it, so again, waiting for that moment. Secret of Stars. I don't know why I haven't read it yet. I've owned the book. It's a beautiful story. I loved the first one. Why am I not picking it up? I don't know. And these two here at the bottom, Dark Shade of Magic and A Court of Wings. Wings in Ruin? Wind in Ruin? Who knows? Something in ruin. It will probably ruin me. Not in a good way. These two I have here because it's part of my Chatties challenge, which I have done no video content for. And I've talked about for the past 2 years and still done nothing about it. But I'm just waiting to finish off, kind of getting myself back on track with, I've got hair in my mouth. All the things that I'm sort of finishing off before I then start on this project again. And I think there's just no point reading these books and doing videos on these books until I'm picking up this project to do. So they're going to just sit here for a bit. Okay, let me talk you through the points. Okay, so my point system goes like this. If I finish a series, I would then, sorry, where's the finished book of that series? So if I then finish a series, this final book gives me 6 points. But if I start a series, this book would give me -6 points. If I progress with a series, finding a progression book, I didn't think about that one. If I progress with a series, I would get 4 points for every time I read a book that's kind of progressing on with that series. So for example, in the Widdershin sisters, I would have got -6 for A Pinch of Magic, +4 for Sprinkle of Sourcery, +4 for Tangle of Spells, and then +6 for the final book, which is Storm Sisters. For starting a book, but then I'm up to date with that series, I would get 0 points because they kind of cancel each other out. So I'm starting a series, but I can't read any further on in it. So it's like, well, it's not necessarily adding to my current series list, but it's not progressing with any series, and at some point I will need to read more, so just 0 points for that one. But if I'm reading a book that's not the first one in that series and then it's up to date, it gives me 4 points, so just the same as it would with progressing a series. So I still would get points, but not the full 6 because it's still not up to date yet. So that is what it looks like. So let's put this to the test. So I started using this, I started playing with this system to see how it worked. So I added up all the points from August to the end of November. So I have got a current total of +38 because I was doing pretty good at finishing out some series. So we start on +38 as a total, but I'm also going to be tracking how many points per book and how many points for the term. So we'll see what we end up with. So Bear Town, it's -6 because it's a new series. So that means we are on 32 points in total, and we start the term off with -6. Storm of Sisters is +6 points because it's finishing a series. So that means that we are now plus, I've got it written down, 38. And we are, because it was +6. And then for the current total of the term, it's 0. The next book we have is Hunger of the Gods. So this is an up-to-date series, which means we get +4 points for this one. So that's +4. meaning for the term we have 4 points so far this winter term. And in total, we are now on 42 points. The next book is The Stardust Thief. So it's starting a series, but it's also up to date with the series. So this is 0. So this does nothing. We remain on 4 for the term and 42 for the total. We then have some for the Wild Built, and that is starting a series. So we're on it's -6, giving us -2 for the term and giving us 36 for the total. We then have, what have I gone wrong here? You know, that's right. Hold on. Well, good luck everyone, because I had a book in the wrong place. I've done it slightly out of order, so now my notes are not going to make sense for this, so we're going to have to do it as we go. Yay! So let's hope I don't screw it up. Maths live. So we're on Prayer for the Crown Shy, which is continuing with a series. Well, it's up to date with the series. So that is 4. So that is +4 points, which brings us to +2 for the term and brings us to 40 for the total. So next we have the Swifts. This is starting a series. So we are -6, which means we then go back down to -4. And then we are on 36 again in terms of the total. We then have Concrete Rose, and this is finishing a series, so it's now +6. So we now go back up to +2 for the term and back up to 40 for the total. We then have Keeper, which is -6. So we go back again. We are on so we're back to -4. And we are back to 36 for the total. Don't worry, we're not going to keep bobbing backwards and forwards, because I have Thunderhead next, which is a progression, which means we get 4 points for Thunderhead, which means we are on 0 for the term. And we are on... Have I miscalculated? Hold on one moment. Yes, I did miscalculate, because it should be 34, not 36. So yeah, 34 for the total, because of Keeper being -6, which means with Thunderhead being +4, we are now on 38, which is what we started off the term with. So there has been, in terms of points, it's same as it was. So that's quite encouraging, even though I have got more series on my currently reading. In terms of what I have been reading and what I've been working on, I have been finishing series, progressing with series, reading other series, starting a reading series. But I have been doing stuff with my series, so it could have been a lot worse if I was just starting series willy-nilly. So there we go. That's my point system. It was fun for me, although possibly painful, because of, you know, I screwed up my notes in the hope of making this smoother. But my mental maths, only 1 fail on the mental maths, so woo, we'll take that. Thank you so much for watching this incredibly long video. But I always have a fun time playing with my series. And now I have the unenviable task of putting away this sea of books that I've gathered around me. Whoops. But thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to switch off, because I have lost the ability to talk. Please feel free to give this a like if you have enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already and would like to see more. And do get chatty in the comments, because you know I love a chat. What series do you want to be tackling? Is there a series you have that is ongoing and you just know, I just want to get to the next one? There's something that's stopping me. I don't know what it is, but I just need to get going. I'd really love to hear that from you. Or are you someone that just doesn't really care and you just like, I'll just read it or not read it? It's absolutely fine. Let me know. Happy reading, everyone.